First things first, I want to talk about this fractions page. I have a problem on addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And I'm going to quickly do those, but I would urge you to please go to Khan Academy, look up operations with fractions, and watch those videos and work on these until you really get it. Okay? So whenever you're adding fractions, you need to find a common denominator. The same thing applies when you're subtracting fractions, because subtraction is just adding negative numbers. So whenever you're subtracting, you need to find a common denominator. They're the only times that you need to find a common denominator, adding and subtracting. You do not need to find a common denominator for multiplication, and you do not need to find a common denominator for division. Okay, to add these two fractions, 1/2 and 2/3, my common denominator is 6, because 2 goes into 6 and 2 goes into 3. So I'm going to make the common denominator right now, just like that. I still don't know what to put on top of this because I haven't figured that out yet. Now, a lot of you guys are putting a 1 and a 2 up there, but 1/6 is not the same thing as 1/2, and 2/6 is not the same thing as 2/3. You have to convert. It's like when you learned to simplify, only the opposite. 1/2 of 6 is actually 3. So 3/6 is the appropriate fraction for 1/2. 2/3 of 6 is actually 4/6. That's the appropriate fraction. Another way of looking at it is to ask yourself, to get from 2 to 6, I had to multiply by 3. So now I have to multiply my numerator by 3, and 1 times 3 is 3. To get from 3 to 6, I had to multiply 3 times 2. Therefore, I have to multiply the top by 2 as well, and 2 times 2 is 4. That's how I get my common denominator, and if you did this, I gave you a point. Now I simply add. Because I have common denominators, I can add 3/6 to 4/6, and that is 7/6, and I'm done. Okay, there's no way I can simplify that, so I'm done. Next problem is very much the same. Different numbers, but same concept. When I'm subtracting these two fractions, I need to find a common denominator, because like I said, subtraction is just like addition, only we're adding negative numbers. So a common denominator of 5 and 4 is 20. So I'm going to make my common denominator with my subtraction sign, and I get 20 minus 20. I don't know what these numbers are yet. I have to figure that out. To get from 5 to 20, I multiply by 4. So I have to multiply the top by 4 as well. So 3 times 4 is 12. To get from 4 to 20, I had to multiply by 5. So I have to multiply the top by 5 as well. And 1 times 5 is 5. Now that I have a common denominator, I can just subtract the numerators. And 12 minus 5 is 7 over 20. You'll notice I don't change the denominator. Many of you, when you were here, you added 2 plus 3 and got 5, and 1 plus 2 and got 3. That is not how it works. Find a common denominator, only add the numerators. Find a common denominator, only subtract the numerators. You leave the denominator there. It's like the subject of the sentence. You have 7 of these. You have 7 of these. You don't change those. That's just what you have of them. All right? Now, multiplying fractions. This is the easiest, most simple operation with fractions there is. A lot of you guys seem to think that you need to do some kind of cross multiplication or something when you're working with fractions. You never have to do that when you're adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing fractions. You never have to cross multiply anything. 5 times 4 is 20. I just multiply the numerator by the numerator, and 8 times 5 is 40. Multiply the denominator by the denominator. And 20/40ths is the same thing as 1/2 if you look at it close enough, and I'm done. It's that simple. Dividing fractions is just a little bit more complex. There's one step you need to take in between. You just multiply by the reciprocal of the second fraction. You'll notice all I did was take 5/4 and flip it over to 4/5, and then I turned this division sign into a multiplication sign. A lot of you, for some reason, did 3 divided by 5 and 4 divided by 4 is 1, so you got 3/5. You flip the second fraction and then multiply. Okay? Now, I don't have time to show you why this works and why this works, but there are videos on Khan Academy that show you why this works. So, watch them. 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 5 is 20. And both of those are divisible by 4, and that gives me 12 divided by 4 is 3. 20 divided by 4 is 5, so I'm left with 3/5 as my answer. Now, if you gave me 20 over 40 or 12 over 20, I actually gave you full credit for it, because I'm really just looking for your ability to do the operation right now. I will continue to give you these quizzes. At least those of you who are not getting it will get an extra page with these on them every time we take a test until you get it. Okay, that's my video on adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing fractions. If you need more, go ahead and go to Khan Academy and look that up online. Thanks.